Man, I dig that song so much. I love that song.
Oh yeah, he's in transition to moving to Canada right now. So he just got married, I believe, last year. His
Oh
name is
wow.
Kenny in real life.
His name is what?
Kenny in real life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I
got
love it. Good for
yeah
him. Get out of America.
yeah. So he's going to try to continue his musical career in Canada. So that's why
That's
he's going to come on my show, but he's just trying to get himself settled in first.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's awesome. I love his music. It definitely takes me back to the good old days, the old
yeah,
'90s punk rock days.
yeah. He's really good. I discovered him. Actually, he discovered my channel, and then we've been corresponding. So yeah,
Cool.
yeah. How
So
are
how
you
have you
doing, Jimmy?
been? Oh no, I've been good. I was gonna ask you the same thing. I know we took last week off, so right? Did we take last week off?
No, we took last night off.
Last night off. That's what it was. Oh yes. That's right. Man, and it was crazy too. Like yesterday, I was just gonna go out for like some grocery shopping and get some household items. I didn't even get home until like 10 o'clock last night. It was absolutely wild. Went to like a whole bunch of different stores. I did get some sushi yesterday. I'm pretty happy about that. So, but yeah, trying to find a place for this cat. Still have this stray cat at my house, which, I mean, he's adorable. It's just my other cats are not having it. They freaking hate me. Well, my one girl cat is okay. It's the two boy cats that I have that are not cool with him, which I just found out this week that the cat that I rescued I thought was a girl, and it is a boy. We took it to the vet, and it is a boy. So we have 3 boys and 1 girl cat, and the 2 boys do not like him yet. The lady at the vet asked me if he had a name, and I was like, I don't want to give him a name yet because I don't want to, grow attachment to him because we're going to take him to a sanctuary and all this stuff. And I was like, well, what did you name your cats? And she's like, I named a couple of them off the streets that I found them on. I'm like, well, I named him I found him off of the street called Lupin. And Professor Lupin is a character off of Harry Potter. So we named him Professor Lupin. That's his name now. And we still haven't been able to get him to an animal sanctuary, which makes me really sad. So
What kind of cat is it?
He's just I don't even know what kind. He's just a white cat with some black markings, random black markings everywhere. He's big. I have a white cat with gray markings, exactly the same, my Odin. So I don't know what kind of cat that is, but yeah, it's that kind of cat. He's great. I mean, he walks on, like, you know how cats have the knee that goes backwards in the back?
Uh-huh.
Well, he can't stand on the foot. So I think what the doctor said was he might have pulled a tendon or strained a tendon when he was really young and is just able to get used to it. But he walks on that whole entire back leg part all the way to the knee. So instead of just the foot, he's walking on the whole leg. And he's got like some kind of infection in his mouth where like his teeth grew in and then they grew back down, and it exposes the nerve and it gets it infected, and he's got a lot of teeth missing right there, and his tongue sticks out constantly and he drools a lot. So we got him some medication that should help for the next month for him until we find him a cat haven or a sanctuary or something like that that's going to help take care of all the rest of whatever else needs to be done, whether or not he can learn to walk on that leg forever. And then with the mouth, they're probably going to have to take him to a dentist and get all of his teeth pulled and have no teeth at all whatsoever. So it's his journey, and I'm just a small little bit of it. It just sucks that everywhere is full right now. It makes me really sad because I just really want to get him into a good place that, is going to take care of him, because I can only do so much with all of my animals wanting attention too. So
I actually got a cat story for you. It's kind of a little bit tragic with a kind of a happy ending, and a little bit of comedy in between. There was a stray cat, and I have no idea where it's at now. It disappeared. There was a stray cat I felt sorry for. It was a gray stray cat, and I would feed it. And it was like it got like majorly cut on the top one day. Something cut. Somehow it got cut on top. There was like a gashing wound. I was like, oh, that's terrible. And I could not let that cat suffer like that. So I was just trying to think, I want to take that cat to the vet. So I had the kennel, and I put the cat food in the kennel, and he was just looking in there. It's like, should I go in there? Should I go in there? should I go in there? And as soon as she kind of halfway crawled in there, I grabbed the towel and I pushed the cat into the kennel and I locked it up. And I mean, the cat was like, "Arr, arr, arr." I mean, it was with the intention of taking it to the vet to have her taken care of.
Yeah.
And she was taken care of, and it cost $300 some to take care of. Just $300 to really had to kind of pull out of my ass to do it. But I had to go and because I saw that wound, I was like, gosh, I would hate to walk around with a wound like that and not being treated.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my little Good Samaritan thing. And when I brought that cat back home and opened up the kennel, that thing just whoop. It ran, leaped out of there, and didn't really see. Unfortunately, never saw that cat much more again. I think that the cat thought I was being cruel, and I was being the opposite.
Yeah, I know. They don't understand. They just want to make themselves or get themselves back to a safe area. So,
yeah, I think that's why the cat went away, probably thinking that I torture it. But it was wounded. I mean, but she said the cat's fine now. I mean, she said the cat's going to be fine.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. I felt so bad for mine. I felt like I was neglecting him and stuff because I've been keeping him downstairs where my kid's room is. And when she comes home from school, she'll go down there and pet him and feed him and stuff. And while she's at school, I'll go down there one time and pet him for like 15, 20 minutes, make sure he got some attention and stuff. But my daughter's gone for the weekend at my mom's house all weekend long. And I felt so bad that he's just going to be down there all by himself. So I brought him upstairs today. I think he's hiding upstairs in my little attic area away from all the other cats, but I'm just going to let them figure out how, because I don't want to push trying to make them friends and stuff like that. I want it to be natural and all of that. So so I let him upstairs today. He's upstairs with all three of the cats. He's in the house right now with them in like, they can go up there and hang out with them if they want to. So we're gonna see how today goes. Definitely gonna see how today goes. It's cool.
Hopefully
I love
there won't be any, hopefully there won't be any of that.
Yeah, no, it's been there has been some hissing already. My youngest cat, Burton, which is my mom's cat's baby, which is the only one out of her litter from last year that I saved. He's never been outside. He's never seen any other cats other than the two cats here. He's he reminds me of Richie Rich. I don't know if you ever saw that movie with Macaulay Culkin back in the day, like in the 90s. He's like a spoiled, rotten only child who gets everything that he wants, and so he sees that other cat and he's like everywhere. Like I had the cat on my lap hanging out on the bed today, and when I got off of the bed to go pet him, he like smelled my hands and started hissing at me. So Burton, he is not having the other cat, but he, like I said, he's my little spoiled rotten brat who gets everything he wants. So nothing I can really do about that.
Okay. Sam Cedars King said he rather see you with the glasses on.
I know. I'm trying to put them back on. They have some rain on them because it's raining out here, and I had them on my head when I was cleaning up out here. So they have a little bit of rain. Plus, when I wear them, you guys can see my screen. So I'm trying to figure out a way to like angle it better. But yes, I know. I'm trying to wear my glasses. Don't worry. I'm trying to wear them. Good to see you, Sam Cedars King. You're on Twitch now. You're so happy to be away from all the door fans. John, oh my goodness. I haven't seen you in so long. It's so good to see you. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Warren in here. We got Mouse SF. What's up, fam? Or I call you guys Frems because fam.
Miguel's here. Let's see. Yep.
Mr. H. What's up, Mr. H?
Daniel
Berry.
Yep.
Who else we got? Okay, I see Mr. H. What's up, Mr. H? For wanting me to follow Jimmy Dore on Twitter. You were wanting him to follow Jimmy Dore on Twitter. God, man. I just stopped watching all that stuff. Once people stop talking about the issues and the things that are going on and start talking about drama between other people and personal issues, I'm like, I'm done watching. I can't watch that shit no more. There's too many things going on in this world for me to worry about who's fighting with who.
Drama gets a little bit it gets a little much at times.
It does. It really does. Like, it's fun sometimes to like be in other people's drama because it's not your drama. I get it. I totally understand that. I'm a girl, obviously a girl from California. Other people's business is definitely my forte. I get it. But after a while, especially with people that you look up to and you want to hear their perspective on certain things because you believe and have the same perspective as they do, it's hard to sit there and listen to them talk about infighting and drama and stuff like that, because it's just not what you want from them. I'm the kind of person that when I go online and I watch things, I either want to learn something, or learn something new pretty much every day. And with all this infighting for over the last year and a half, year or so, I'm not learning anything except for who hates who and who likes who now, but then tomorrow they're not going to like them, and it's just too much. It's way too much.
Yeah, and people tend to, if you got some really good leftist credentials, but you listen to a podcast where somebody be like, "Oh, you listen to that person? How could you?" It's
Right.
like a litmus test of who you have to listen to
Yep.
to decide whether you're a good person or not, or what have you. It's just crazy. And I do think it's kind of like a microcosm of what the broader left is like, with all the infightings and all of that.
Yep.
You
Absolutely.
get anywhere. Yep.
I do have to say, though, when it comes to like infighting and all this like liberal drama and stuff, seeing people, all these like libtards at TwitchCon right now, that shit is, or VidCon or wherever they're at right now, is hilarious. And that shit is fun to watch. I saw this morning or yesterday, I saw like a little table, and it had, oh my God, who's the one guy on the Rising now? That I can't fucking stand. Anyway, it had him on there. Robbie, yes.
Robbie Sobel, whatever his name is.
Yeah, so it had him. Who was next to him? I think it was like Destiny. The girl from Majority Port with the blonde hair. I can't stand her either.
Emma
Vigeland, yeah, and then Bosch. Like all four of them sitting next to each other. And then like at a dinner table, it was like Destiny, Bosch, and Keffels. Like Keffels gets into so much drama with Bosch and Destiny, but she's sitting at a table with them and eating dinner at VidCon. So yeah, it's just too much. It's way too much.
Yeah, oh yeah. As I said, it's a microcosm of the left. It's why left can't have nice things, because we're agreeing with each other 90% of the time, and we let that 10%, we just hold it like a grudge.
I know. That's what some I've been talking with a friend recently about that. Like, it's been really, really bothersome to find out, like, in the left sphere, anybody that like makes a little bit of money, like, becomes a millionaire, like Hassan Piker or something, not like I really watch him or anything, but because he made like, his first millions or whatever, he's not allowed to look like, he's no longer allowed to be like a socialist communist on the left anymore because he owes a bunch of money. And that shit drives me crazy, is when people on the left like cast side, whatever, put aside like people that could financially help us get to where we need to go, but we just like throw them aside because now they've made $1 million and they're no longer us plebs anymore. And so they can no longer be communist or socialist or something because they're rich. It's crazy to me. It's like, sometimes we need those people's helps, Like,
I'll tell you, before we get to everything, I'll tell you one funny story. Conservative, quote unquote, friend, somebody I used to know in college, that anyway, he would tell me that all these online leftists, apparently, if I go conservative, I'm going to get more views. He tells me I'm going to get more views and all of that. But then when he sits there and dogs the left, he calls them grifters, just hungry for money. It's like, which is it?
Yep,
which is it? Are they hungry for money and they grift? And are they going to go right, or are they going to go left, where they're going to get less money? But you claiming they're going to make more money by going toward the left. I mean, he's pretty damn inconsistent.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you're on the left and you go away from the views of certain people, you're a grifter. And then if you're on the left and you go towards the right a little bit, you're automatically a fascist. I don't listen. If anybody calls somebody a grifter or a fascist, I'm like, I don't need to listen to you, obviously, because you don't even know what the definition of those are if you're just saying them so willy-nilly out there,
Yeah, well, so I guess probably should get to the first story of the day.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. What's up, Warren? You're playing Starfield. Let me know how Starfield is. I'll talk to you later on tonight about it. I really want to see how Starfield is because I haven't even downloaded it yet. It's like such a big game. I'm scared.
You're going to have a busy day with this show and the secret show tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew I was gonna do that, so I'm prepared. I'm ready for it. I don't have anything else to do. So you want to go with your story first?
Let's see. We're talking. It's just. We're talking about the Trudeau Zelensky and the Canadian government honors 98-year-old who fought alongside with the Nazis in SS Division. That's from Harlan's Media.
Yep, I got it.
Let's do that one.
All right.
Or look into people's background. I'm surprised by the actions of a foreign government, of how the media has been covering it, and just overall, what really happened in the aftermath of the Second World War. Because let's be clear here, and again, I'm just going to bring it down simply in regards to the Second World War and just how things are viewed. Yes, the Second World War is extremely complicated with many, many issues that led up to the beginning stages of that conflict. I think it's fair enough to say, by using Saturday morning cartoon logic, that we know that the Axis powers, most notably the Nazis, were the bad guys. I think we could universally agree. This isn't open for debate or discussion, right? I think we all could say, like, yep, they're the bad guys. It's almost as black and white as you can get for all the complex wars and historical situations that humanity has been on this planet we call Earth. I think we could universally agree. Axis powers, using Saturday morning logic, they're the bad guys. Agreed? Let's have democracy in the chat. Let's have democracy. Like, no, kid, it's more nuanced than that. That type two, like, no, they were the bad guys. Simple as that. 1, 2, 3. They were the bad guys. Okay. So I think we're all a little bit shocked when Canada. What are you doing? I know America screws up, but Jesus, F and F. Yeah. Are you looking into people? Because explain this to me. Canadian Parliament applauds Nazi Waffen SS veteran. So this dude who was part of Ukrainian volunteers during the Second World War. Again, the first Galician division. Explained for multiple atrocities against the Polish people. So, hey, everybody's favorite dude who needs money, who dresses like a homeless guy, Ukraine's president and Canada's prime minister greeted a former member of the infamous SS First Galician Division, which fought for the Nazis in World War II. Right? As they attend a parliament session in Ottawa, according to images shared by the Associated Press. One of the photos taken in the House of Commons on Friday showed a smiling Vladimir Zelensky clenching his fist and Justin Trudeau offering applause to somebody outside the image. Well, who are they talking about? What's going on? Well, hey, let's first pull up this tab here, because this gentleman right here is the Canadian Parliament Speaker. Here, see it for yourself.
We have here in the chamber today a Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
Now, hold on. Now, listen. This may come as a shock to a lot of people, but it was around that time when the Ukrainians, at least that little volunteer group that were fighting off against the Russians, just so everyone knows, Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union at the time. So it wasn't just Russia, it was the Soviet Union as a whole. And this may blow your mind. I hope you're sitting down, but the Soviets were our allies with Great Britain, the French resistance, the United States of America, and everyone else that was part of the alliance, the allies, to stop Hitler and his horrible, horrible friends. And this 98-year-old douchebag is getting a ceremony and applause in the Canadian Parliament. Okay. Did anyone do a background check? Did anyone open up a history book just to kind of look into? Well, wait a minute. During the Second World War, who are you fighting against, and who were you with? Why do you have that weird flag and that awful symbol right there? You see that symbol inside the interior mansion of Walt Disney. I mean, oops. No one wants to talk about Walt Disney and how much he was a fan of first name Adolf, last name Hitler.
Oh, I want to say something. Now that is just a public embarrassment. That is a mixed blessing because a lot of people who were not too sure about this Nazi connection and they think it's hyperbole. It did illustrate that, and I'm wondering in willing to get himself fired? Was he willing to have this Nazi up there to educate the world? I'm trying to understand the motives, because if that's the motives, I mean that could be perceived as honorable to educate people. Look who we're indirectly supporting in this proxy war, and hopefully it might convince the United States to end funding. I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic.
I think this is a great little Freudian slip from the Canadian government. I think that they not like a real like Freudian slip, but kind of like that, where they're applauding him for helping Ukrainians battle Russia with, and not like hoping that people don't expect to realize that Russia, the Soviet Union, was on the American side, which means that he was on the side of the Nazis. Like, so, and then like, and are people taking that and tying it into, us supporting Ukrainians now while there's still Nazis in Ukraine? It's just crazy to me. Like I think this was a great Freudian slip. I hope these people feel ashamed and feel dumb for what they did. And I hope a lot of Americans are really starting to realize that we shouldn't be funding this. This is just bad.
They're definitely embarrassed. Do you remember a decade ago, Andre Breivik, the man that did the terrorist attack in Norway?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was like it was like a high number of. He blew up buildings in Oslo, then went to an island dressed up as a police officer in a Labor Party youth camp, and killed a bunch of people over there. And to show you how this shit is being normalized, it's Nazi shit. The man was a neo-Nazi, and you hardly heard the American right wing denounce the actions of what happened to those, especially the young children that on that island. Because I heard some people say, "Well, what in the world is a political party doing having a summer camp?" Well, I don't know if it should be the reason we should shoot 60, 80 people. I think it was like 80 people that he killed on that island, if I remember correctly. It was something along those lines. But just like, I mean, we're talking about a movement, the Labor Party in Norway were fierce opponents of fascism, and you're going to go side with Andre Breivik over people who actually fought against Nazism? Sort of the same thing. And then look what they're doing here in the Canadian Parliament. And look in America how fascism is getting normalized kind of almost monthly, if not yearly.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I'm giving you a forewarning ahead of time before we restart this. I just started hearing thunder around me. So if I lose electricity, I'm counting on you to keep this show going, okay?
I will do my utmost because I'm a team player.
Yes, teamwork makes the dream work. All right.
All right.
is a long applause.
I just want to pull this up here because I just want to look at the applause for a second. Everyone's standing up, right? I want to pull up this tweet here real quick. Hopefully I could find it. Shout out to this person, Laurie Spencer. When the entire Canadian Parliament stood up to applaud a Waffen-SS Ukrainian Nazis, my eyes scanned the chamber for one, just one, who might have the courage to resist. Sadly, no one remained seated. No one refused to clap.
Oh.
See that guy right there? A lot of liberals, a lot of SJW activists wish they could be that person. All those resistance fighters, all those people who were triggered by Trump or hate Russia because DNC, Keith Olbermann or Rachel Maddow told you to. To all those people who are triggered and have Trump and Putin or anybody else that challenges them critically living rent-free in your head, you will never be that person there. Let's take a good long look at that audience again. You see anyone sitting down? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious Cretaceous. You don't.
Not a single one.
Talking about embarrassment.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But I'll tell you what they tried doing. For the longest time, they try in America. There's a lot of well-meaning progressives that will try to sugarcoat it and say, "Well, we got Nazis in Idaho. It's probably about the same thing," and it's not the same thing. When you have streets, they're named after some of these people in the Ukraine, and they're celebrating holidays, and they're doing these things, and the media been doing everything they could to cover up anything that was in reference to more Stefan Bandera and anybody that was orbiting around him, to try to cover it up. 10 years ago, they were talking about it. They were talking about it nonstop 10 years ago, and now they try to make it be like, it's not that big a deal. And then when it gets exposed that we're indirectly giving money to Nazis, they're like, "Whoops, we didn't mean to do that."
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a really long
His
applause.
name is Yaroslav Hunka.
Oh yeah.
And,
We don't have to watch
I
it all the
was
way
gonna say
through, but I'm
gallery,
just
I think you beat me to
saying
that.
it's
Yeah.
kind of
But I'm very proud to say that
outrageous.
he is from North Bay and from my riding of Nipissing-Temiskaming. He's a Ukrainian hero, a Canadian hero, and we thank him for all his service. Thank you.
Wow.
Oh yeah, get up, dance, applause.
All right, what else did
No
we
one did
have
it
to
back.
say?
as one man and woman to applaud Yaroslav Hunka,
So meta.
aged 98. Did the words "fought the Russians during World War II" not ring even the smallest of bells?
I mean, when I heard that, I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right. I mean, fought against the Russians. Oh, okay. I mean,
So he's just pretty much explaining what we were already talking about earlier, or what he said earlier, that the Russians were the Soviet Unions. They were on the side of the West, and Ukrainians, that makes Ukrainians working for the side of Germany.
What's amazing about this whole thing, I'm officially more or less neutral on the Russian-Ukraine conflict, but I do see Ukraine as a heavily corrupt government and a kind of a fucked up government that we should have no business supporting in any way, shape, or form. But I'm gonna tell you, with the shit-lived mindset, like he was talking about the SJWs, nobody could have turned me more sympathetic toward the Russians than the SJWs since Hillary Clinton lost in 2016. Because it's kind of like just kind of like the scapegoating of everything Russian. scapegoating of everything Putin. You know, I mean, and again, I would never vote for Putin if I lived in Russia, but
Right. Same.
it's kind of like 9/11 happened. What did our society do? We vilify Muslims. We made it sound like all Muslims are a bunch of, you know, dynamite strapping terrorists waiting to go shouting Allah Akbar and blowing up a mall somewhere. That's what they want to paint Muslims as during the Bush, Cheney, and Obama years by the right wing. And this is like the latest version of it from the shit libs. Back then it was the neocons. Today is the shit libs. But instead of the Muslims, we're vilifying everything Russian.
Yeah, there's always got to be the evil character. There's always got to be the supervillain. It's always black and white. It's always good versus evil, dark versus light. There's never any nuance, never any gray area when it comes to these people. You're either good or you're bad, and it sucks because everybody believes that and thinks that because that's what our movies tell us. That's what our books tell us. There's always a good guy and a bad guy, a superhero and a villain. A protagonist and an antagonist, you know, everything has that, and that's what makes a good story, and that's what gets people into things like that. And yeah, we're all screwed because there's never any nuance.
No nuance whatsoever. I mean, and as I said, not making apologies for Russia. I got a lot of criticisms of Russia, but I kind of have to look at them as a less aggressor. And that, considering all the promises we broke and how we just screwed over the Soviet Union when it became Russia in the 1990s, we, the West, are the reason why they got Putin today. Didn't have to be that way, but you know, we're to blame for Putin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, you ready for the next story?
Yep, we'll go with your next story. All
right.
Do that.
So this week was the Republican debate,
Yay.
which I had so much fun watching. Oh my goodness, I had a blast. It sucks because I was gonna live stream it and I didn't even realize it was on until like I think it was like 8 minutes already into it. So I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna sit here and watch it. But I had a blast. It was a mess as I expected it to be. I do have to say, it definitely seemed like whose dick was bigger, whose balls was bigger, the whole thing. Even Nikki Haley was in the competition of whose dick was bigger. Okay, it's all it is to me. But there was some really good highlights. So I figured somebody from the Boston Globe like pulled out a couple of really good snippets from it. Minus one good or one big gigantic thing too I want to bring up. So we'll watch that. But what it doesn't bring up is how much they were over talking each other. Just trying to figure out what they were all saying because there was so much time where one was speaking over the other, and then there was three speaking on top, and then you got the the moderator down on the stage trying to tell them to be quiet. It was a lot. Yes, yeah, I agree. It was absolutely hilarious. Yes, Grapentine. I'm sorry. I was hoping nobody really paid attention. You guys hear that? That was thunder. I told you there's thunder. So it's really, really, really loud. I haven't seen lightning yet, but I definitely hear the thunder. So we'll see how long I last. I've got a whole nother.
It's not that bad sounding. I mean, it's like very gentle sounding on my side.
It sounds like the sky is opening up over here. Okay. It's crazy. I got a whole nother show to do tonight. That's what I'm so worried about because I live in like an unincorporated mountain area in like the national forest. Everything is above ground. All our electricity poles, everything is all above ground. So when the rain comes the wind, comes trees falling, branches falling. That means electric poles going. I'm like so nervous that I'm going to like lose internet. Oh my God, I'm so nervous.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. Okay. So let's watch this Republican presidential debate highlights. Woo! I do have a boat. The only problem is that the local raccoons have made a home out of it. So I will be floating with raccoons today. Yay! All right. That's great to hear. You think it's cool that it's storming? Sounds like where I'm from in Oklahoma. Oh, cool. Good. Y'all feel like you're home. Is it weird to hear it on your screen? Because then you're like, wait, is that coming from my house or is that coming from the thing? That's what I like to that's what freaks me out. Like when it's storming and I'm watching somebody, I'm like, is that them or is that me? Okay, sorry, I'm getting all sidetracked. Here we go. Presidential debate highlights.
None of you have indicated that you're dropping out. So, which one of you on stage tonight should be voted off the island? Please use your marker to write your choice on the notepad in front of you. 15 seconds starting now. Of the people on the stage, who should be?
I'll
I'm
decline
absolutely
to do that
serious.
with all due respect. I mean, we're here, like, you know, we're happy to debate, but I
So-
think that's disrespectful to my fellow competitors.
Nobody wants.
That's one of the first, or that was actually one of the that was the last question pretty much that they had asked them, and they all refused. I think Chris Christie said that he would vote out Trump because he wrote Trump down. I agree with Sam Cedars King. I wish they were all voted off. That would be really nice too. But that was one of the last things that they did. Out of the whole entire thing, I would have thought that would have been the most fun to see, like, you know, who, I don't know, Vivek Ramaswamy or Nikki Haley would have, like, you know, after Nikki Haley and Tim Scott got into an argument that night over like curtains or something, I was like hoping Nikki Haley was going to vote Tim Scott off and stuff. Like, it was actually going to be a really, really, really fun part of the entire thing, and nobody wanted to join in on the shenanigans, which made me sad.
Well, yeah, I mean, but they're boring politicians. I mean, they're not even close to emanated. You know, for better or worse, with someone like Donald Trump, they're not anywhere close to being as emanated as he is. So,
Yeah.
they're basically all Mitt Romneys, all of them.
Right. Yep.
Christy, I believe I did see you write something on the card. Who was it?
No, but I'll certainly tell you.
Go.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, I think I've been the only one on this stage who's been clear about this. I vote Donald Trump off the island right now. And the reason I vote him off the island,
You will
and there,
vote any of the people on the
because
stage
you know what?
off the-
Every person on this stage
Fucking
is showing
Chris Christie, the
respect
only team
for
player.
Republican voters to come here to express their views honestly, candidly, and directly, and to take your questions honestly.
Where's Joe Biden?
What's up, Snipe Hunter? Good to see you. Welcome.
What's up, Snipe Hunter?
Can you hear the rain now? Is it worse?
It's not too bad, honestly. I mean,
It sounds like popcorn.
popcorn's nice.
It sounds like popcorn popping. It's getting worse. It definitely just started raining harder ever since the sky decided to open up.
He's completely missing in action from leadership. And you know who else is missing in action? Donald Trump is missing in action. He should be on this stage tonight. He owes it to you to defend his record where they added $7.8 trillion to the debt. That set the stage for the inflation that we have.
And I want to look at that camera right now and tell you, Donald, I know you're watching. You can't help yourself. I know you're watching, okay? And you're not here tonight, not because of polls and not because of your indictments. You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record. You're ducking these things. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
I swear that was the most cringiest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Like, if I thought that the Republicans were at least getting ahead in coolness just a smidgen, they lost all of it. Like, that was so goddamn cringy. And then what made it even worse is somebody actually...
I heard that one that time. But anyway.
That one was scary. That one was big. Yes, Miguel, I agree. Yeah, Sam Cedar. It was cringy. It was ridiculous. Like, and then he had like an AI image drawn or like made up of Trump as Donald Duck, and he posted it up on his Twitter or something like that yesterday. I saw a picture of it.
Oh, I would love to see that.
Oh my God. He is, I mean, tell me, like, that is somebody who's just a little bit on the older side, who doesn't understand what's funny. Like, he just tried to be funny. He thought he ate it. He totally did not. That was so cringy.
He's running to get back at Trump. Is what he's trying to do. I mean, Trump made him look like a damn fool back in 2016, and he is pissed off about it. So he's there to he just wants to go there and pretty much tell Donald Trump, basically to F off. I mean, that's basically what he's doing at.
Yep. Oh, so
This
crazy.
is infuriating because TikTok is one of the most dangerous social media apps that we could have. And what you've got, I honestly, every time I hear you, I feel a little bit dumber for what you say because I can't believe that here
Governor
you've
Haley,
got
if I
a
may.
TikTok situation.
I think we would be better served as a Republican Party if we're not sitting here hurling personal insults and actually have a legitimate debate
I'm glad
about
he's come around
policy
to that point
following
today,
Reagan's
because
11th
he wasn't
Commandment in
there
his
4 months
honor.
ago.
Oh my gosh. Republican Pete Buttigieg, that's what Vivek Ramaswamy is. And I mean, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. I mean, Nikki Haley, she's basically, hello? Hello? I think that we lost connection with her. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we lost connection, but it looks like we may have lost connection. Yes. Well, I am going to carry on with the show until she comes back. So, anyway, yeah, he's basically a Republican, Pete Buttigieg, referring to Vivek Ramaswamy, and that's what happened. She's gone. She's going to come back. So, if y'all could just put up with me, she'll be back here. So, anyway, she's having a storm over there in California. So, yeah, as I said, Nikki Haley, she's a Karen. She's definitely a throwback to the Bush Cheney era, and I especially don't like Nikki Haley with her anti-union comments. She actually tried to. Her comments on Joe Biden encouraging unions by going to the picket line, trying to make it sound like that Joe Biden is actually better than he deserves to be credited for, and we know that's not the case. So just kind of like, well, they're all just boring assholes. That's all I have to say about that. So. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Right now, we're going to go to the next story. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I was going to do it from the New York Times, but instead, I think I'm going to do this from Due Dissidence. So it's basically Robert Kennedy running. It looks like he is going to run as an independent. So let me find that video and we'll go from there. So hold on a second here. And hopefully she'll be back very soon. I've done videos where I have lost connections too for similar reasons. Give me a moment here. And let me find that video. Okay. Yeah, it's not too long, so it's like about 12 minutes, but we'll put it on a 1.25 speed. Give me a moment here. And I'm kind of playing for time, just hoping that she comes back very soon. You know what? I'm going to just play it like this. Give me a moment here. Y'all are very patient with me. So thank you for that, by the way. Okay, and we'll get started with this story. As soon as my computer stopped buffering. Which it likes to do. Come on. And I'm getting a new computer in a couple of days. Once upon a time, my computer wasn't doing this. Okay. Come on.
Folks, major breaking. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. planning to announce independent run. This is according to Mediaite. This is a very reputable source. It's a lib source, but it's reputable. They are not the kind of outlet to run with this unless they feel supremely confident in reporting this, and this is obviously major news. So 2024 presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. plans to announce he will run as an independent on October 9th in Pennsylvania. Mediaite has learned. This is consistent with what we heard earlier. I covered on the show last week that RFK said if he decides to run independent, he will have to do so by mid-October. He set October 14th as a deadline for himself. I'm not exactly sure why, but this is consistent with that. So that's more evidence that this is legit. Kennedy's campaign machine is now planning attack ads against the Democratic National Committee in order to, quote, pave the way for his announcement in Philadelphia about running as an independent, according to a text reviewed by Mediaite. Quote, Bobby feels that the DNC is changing the rules to exclude his candidacy, so an independent run is the only way to go, a Kennedy campaign insider told Mediaite. So there you have it. That
so
What's that?
He noticed?
Yeah, I guess he caught on. I guess he finally caught on. Not the fastest learner out there. Yeah, but he caught on. He caught on. And so this is obviously massive news. We will eat a little bit of shit for it because there were people in our chat saying he was going to do this. And we said, no, he won't. No, he won't. No, he won't. And in our defense, he kind of said he wouldn't. He said he had no plan B. That means no.
Taking the man at his word.
Right. We were taking the man at his word.
Have less in the value of his word than we did.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We believed in the value of his word. That was our mistake.
We should have known not to trust the Kennedy.
We should. I mean, come on, man. Fucking, you definitely don't want to trust him behind the wheel. So you want to put him behind the wheel of the nation. You know, it's an open question.
Open question, yeah. But no, this is massive. Look, there's already, of course, a lot of speculation, or there will be. I mean, we're one of the first to report this, but there's going to be a lot of speculation. Who's he going to hurt more in the general if he actually does run independent and gets ballot access, Biden or Trump?
Well, with regard to Robert Kennedy running as either an independent or libertarian, and that's to be determined soon. I can't really blame Robert Kennedy because he's not only is he being shadow banned by the Democratic National Committee. Doesn't that sound familiar, folks? What happened in 2016 and 2020 to Bernie in 2016, and what happened to Bernie again in 2020, and some other candidates in that primary? Doesn't that ring true and sound very familiar to you all? It sounds very familiar to me. And look what they did to Nina Turner in Ohio in 2021 and 2022. So, I mean, and this is not the first time. I mean, they fucked over Cynthia McKinney as far back as 2002. They fucked over, I think it was in 2012, they fucked over Dennis Kucinich in Ohio, in that district where, strangely enough, I mean, it's a different number, but it was in the Cleveland area where Nina Turner attempted to get the Democratic nomination. And of course, they gave it to what's her name? Chantel Brown, who's one of the most obnoxious corporate Democrats around. Made her a member of the Progressive Caucus, which made the Progressive Caucus forever in my eyes tarnished. So this is what they do in the Democratic Party. So is it any wonder that he decided to go ahead and lead and go ahead and do this on his own? I will let Russell and Keaton continue.
first of all, a lot of this is going to depend on, does he run independent or does he go libertarian? He was in talks with the Libertarian Party. Libertarian Party has a lot more ballot access than he would have as a startup independent candidate. So just like Cornel West announced with the People's Party and then switched to the Greens to gain ballot access, that might be something he's thinking about doing. He is going to take quite a few votes from both Biden and Trump. He has that serious crossover appeal. I suspect that because Trump's base is so much more loyal than Biden's base, RFK will probably hurt Biden on balance a little bit more than Trump, since some polling shows that he would extract double-digit support from Biden if he ran as an independent. He will take some votes from Trump, though. Also, you have to think about Cornel West taking votes from Biden. With RFK and Cornel both in the race, it's almost impossible for Biden to win. And this is a sweet justice, because this just really shows, with RFK and Cornel in the race, it just delegitimizes Biden and delegitimizes the Democrats to such an extent. This is exactly what they deserve. They deserve to have candidates flooding the field against them from every direction. And so I support this decision 100%. We are far from RFK stands. We've made that very clear. But I think it's great that he's running. I wish him the best, just like I wish Cornel the best. I wish any independent candidate the best. I hope those no-label scumbags run somebody, just to get more voices in there, just to disrupt the two-party system as much as possible, right? So, I don't...
Absolutely, to disrupt it, and it needs some major disrupting the two-party system. I think that we all know that already. We need to majorly disrupt the two-party system. But it's good. It would stand to reason for him if he were to do this. I'm guessing the Libertarians at this point would be a kind of a fairly good fit for him, Robert Kennedy. Whereas the Green Party is a fairly good fit for Cornel West. I'm obviously for Cornel West. That's who I do support if I were to support somebody else. I've actually was pretty impressed listening to Claudia De La Cruz on Bad Faith podcast a few days ago. So with regard to Robert Kennedy, well, think about it. I mean, it's not a foregone conclusion. Yeah, on the level, seems like, yeah, he will obviously take votes away from Biden. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's a given. But I do think that Trump's voters would actually choose him as an alternative too, because I just think probably more Biden votes will go to Kennedy. But I think there's going to be a fair amount of Republicans that would go and vote for Robert Kennedy Jr. too. So anyway, got the internet back. I did text Jimmy and actually she's here on the chat line. She said just got the internet back. Be back soon. So I'll wait for Jimmy to come on back. So I'll sit there and I'll continue to play this video and we'll comment more.
Don't harbor ill will towards RFK or Cornel. Obviously, there are things about RFK I like a lot. There's stuff that I really don't like about him, but this is the kind of balls it takes to really make a difference. And it was very frustrating to see him sort of kid himself into thinking that he was going to transform the Democratic Party. If this report is true, which I strongly feel it is, otherwise we would not be putting ourselves out there making this video. Mediaites would not run with this unless they were sure. And so we can be sure too. It's great news.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying about it being just desserts, really, truer words never spoken, because you could definitely make the argument that if it was not well known that the DNC does not allow a fair primary, this wouldn't be happening. Right. If even Cornel probably would have run as a Democrat if it was not well known that you cannot get a fair shake in a Democratic Party primary.
And that's actually a very good point. Had Bernie Sanders been defeated in a way which was fair in 2016 and 2020. We know he was screwed over twice. Cornel West will be running in 2024 as a Democrat, and we would all probably be like a lot of us who are like Bernie Sanders supporters will probably be getting behind Cornel West, within the Democratic primaries, myself included. Of course, there will be other variables included as well, like AOC and the squad doing her job, and the rest of them doing their job, and Bernie, being a little more belligerent toward Biden instead of acting like, well, Biden's my good friend, because let's face it, he's none of our good friends, referring to Joe Biden. Of course, I don't think Biden's anybody's friends because his dementia makes him isolated from other folks. So, and he's not even going to be the nominee in a few months. I mean, we all kind of know the writing's on the wall in that regard. Let me put it this way: the Democrats are fucked in 2024. There's no other way to put it. There's no sugarcoating. The Democrats are majorly fucked. But anyway, there I am sounding like Russell. I'll let him continue.
They wanted to run around and play their games, rigging their elections or going into court and talking about how they're a private organization. Well, here you go. Here you go. In the end, you are not able to stop people from running. All you did was guarantee that they sink whoever you decide to run because you forced everybody to run outside your party. And these are people who almost certainly RFK still is, as far as we know, until maybe tomorrow or 2 days later. On the left, this is going to, if you're on what I think we should start calling the Joachim Phoenix Joker left. If that's where you're coming from and you want to burn this system down, it creates a very interesting conversation on the post-duopoly left, right? Like, well, do you throw support behind Kennedy? I mean, in the end, I've been saying with Cornel, with every misstep that he makes, like, hey, yeah, I don't think he's really very good at running for president, but if I think he can get over 5%, I'll vote for him. I don't really care all that much. Well, I mean, that applies here too, frankly. And in fact, yeah, RFK, I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't do a lot better than Cornel does in the end. Because
he will poll a lot better because he has more crossover appeal. The question is, does he attach himself to a party with ballot access? He needs ballot access. Cornel already has that because he's on the Greens. You got to see where RFK lands. Does he go totally independent, as this press release, or not a press release from the campaign, as this press leak says, or does he attach himself to an organization that has ballot access already? So that's a big question mark going forward. But the fact that he is making a break from the Democrats, absolutely seismic. I just want to make one more point, and then I'll toss back to you, because the Democrats got lucky that in 2016 and 2020, they screwed over a loser, sad bastard pushover like Bernie Sanders, who was going to let them get away with it. And now they found somebody who said a couple weeks ago, I am 10 times the threat Bernie Sanders is. And I said, he's right. He is 10 times the threat Bernie Sanders is, not because his policy platform is on paper more threatening than Bernie's, although in some ways it certainly is, right? But we can parse that out. That's for a different time. He's 10 times the threat. He's infinitely the threat that Bernie is because he was willing to do this, and Bernie never was. And the DNC got very lucky in the past 2 cycles that they screwed over a pushover who was willing to take it. And this time they didn't. All they had to do was give the guy a fair shot. The Democratic base is too stupid to vote for RFK over Biden anyway. The Democrats did not have to treat him unfairly. They could have just said, yeah, we'll have a debate. Sure, whatever. Democratic voters will do whatever MSNBC tells them. They did not have to push him to this. They did because they're arrogant bastards. And now this is what they get.
They're also trying to protect Biden from being damaged goods if he is going to run for re-election in 2024. If he is going to still be the nominee, they're wanting to protect him from being damaged goods as far as negative campaign commercials from the Republicans. But here's the thing. And Donald Trump is doing the same thing in a way by not participating in the primaries himself on the Republican side. You need to go and you need to come out scarred from a Democratic primaries or Republican primaries or any primaries. So you know how to go take on your main opponent. That's going to be how it works. But, hiding Biden in the basement may have worked in 2020. We had COVID. The country was a culture war powder keg. That just, what happened to George Floyd. There was a lot of righteous anger from the left over this. Some things were exaggerated by a right-wing media, but the point I'm trying to make is that it was a different time and people were clamoring for a return to normality. And you look at Joe Biden, he was considered normal. We had a taste of normal, and what did normal give us? The potential of Donald Trump coming back in 2024. But they're going to go, and I'm going to tell you, they're going to blame RFK if Trump wins. They're going to blame Cornel West. They're going to go back in time. They're going to blame Bernie again. It'll be like, Bernie, you started this shit. They're going to find a way to blame Tulsi Gabbard. They're going to go blame. They're going to blame the left wing base. They're even going to go and blame AOC, and they're going to blame, say, you were demanding too much. Even Elizabeth Warren, the snake lady, they're going to be like, it's your fault too. This is what the Democrats do. They blame everybody for their problems, and then they're going to go and do the motherfucking blame for everything with Russia. Now, on the positive side is the only area where a Trump presidency would probably be better than Biden would be probably on Russia, Ukraine. That's just my opinion. And probably the one area where I think he would be better because he was slightly less interventionist. But if someone like Nikki Haley becomes president or Ron DeSantis become president, we'll see what Biden is doing and then some. And we'll be going back to the days of Bush, Cheney, and John Bolton and all those motherfuckers. So anyway, I will let them continue, and hopefully Jimmy will be back soon.
It is, and it is in terms of the left, particularly the post-duopoly left, people who have been backing Cornell. Well, now you got to say, and yes, I agree with you. We wish them all luck, but the conversation is going to have to be had. Well, who are you backing? And hey, I'll back whoever's gonna do the most damage to the walls.
Right.
Whoever's cannon shot is going to hurt the walls the most. And yeah, that's definitely RFK. Look, if RFK had real resources, he would be the first independent with a shot at actually becoming president since Ross Perot. I don't think he has Ross Perot money. I don't think he can get Ross Perot money. But because, look, there are a lot of fucking people who hate Donald Trump and hate Joe Biden who would vote for RFK if he were really able to mount a very serious campaign.
He might be able to. With Biden and Trump.
Trump is not a beloved figure. Right. Trump is a beloved figure with a certain very, very dedicated, passionate minority, not with a majority of people on the right. You give them this anti-COVID, anti-Ukraine war figure named Kennedy, that name has resonance for them as well, right? Like, especially the idea of a Kennedy who represents their values. You talk to a lot of conservatives, they feel that they carry on the Kennedy legacy and that the Democratic Party betrayed it, that they're the real Kennedy Democrats.
Sure, of course, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there is this contingent among the conservatives who have this reverence for John Kennedy, who see him as a cold warrior. So yeah, man, with a real campaign and real resources, with the people he'd be running against, that guy could actually win.
Of course, and he might have it. Look, Biden and Trump are two failed former presidents, right? I mean, this is a historic opportunity for third parties to be able to say, we've literally tried both of these guys before, and look where we are now. That's an incredibly powerful argument for any third party candidate. And what is uniquely potent about RFK's candidacy is that he has crossover appeal. He pulls pretty much equally from Democrats and Republicans. And so this 2024 election just got 100 times more interesting.
Please clap.
And I like the fact that a presidential election gets interesting because the mainstream media hates it. They like the comfortable arrangement of the two-party system. Then again, we all know that, right? So anyway, let's go. Speaking of presidential contests, I mentioned her name recently. I'm going to try to get her on my show. Claudia Dela Cruz, who is the PSL candidate for president. I listened to the video on Bad Faith the other day, and dare I say, I was pretty impressed. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll go ahead and what did I do that for? Okay, hold on a second. I know what I was doing. I'll fix that. Huh. Interesting. Let me do this real quick. What the hell that happened? Okay, let me fix that. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and fix that right now. All right, come on. We're going to get you over here on this window here. Come on. Here, there. Okay, show chat and replay. I'm going to get you started. My friend Jamar Jabari told me about Claudia Dela Cruz, so we're going to go ahead and play it now. Hold on a second, folks, before we get started.
What is up?
Hello?
All right. You can hear me, right?
Yes. I'm getting the next video set up, and looks like you're inside.
Yeah, I took everything inside. It's too dangerous out there for me to too much electrical cords for me to be out in the rain like that. It was getting bad.
Oh, I don't blame you. Okay. I already played a video, and I got the next video set up. So the last video was on Robert Kennedy running for president, possibly as an independent or libertarian. And then this is from the Bad Faith podcast. Brianna Joy Gray interviews Claudia Dela Cruz of the PSL, Party for Socialism and Liberation.
All right, cool. What's up, Nicole Kidman?
All right, and welcome back, Jimmy.
Thank you.
identifying explicitly as socialist or communist? Like, what does that mean to you substantively, not just as an add-on label?
I think it's, if you look at our platform, for example, I believe we're the only, very humbly, we are the only campaign with a credible anti-inflation program. We're talking about, if we think about the inflation reports that have come out recently, gas prices are driving inflation, and seizing the top 100 companies that include the 11 of the biggest energy companies with a combined $197.5 billion in profits. Seizing that could definitely help the inflation that we are currently suffering from. When we're talking about, only socialism can save you at the pump. Like, it gets better because the top 100 companies that include Walmart, Tyson Food, Amazon, Ford, and you could go up and down. Those would belong to the people actually producing the wealth. And we would control the ways in which that wealth is actually invested. That's socialism. When we're talking about healthcare, just seizing the top 100 corporation. A lot of these top 100 corporations include the largest health insurers, several of the largest pharmaceutical companies and drug distributors, the largest hospital company in Texas and Florida, CVS, Walgreens. What would happen if we were to do that? If that were to be in control, again, of the people that are producing the wealth and not just the people that are accumulating wealth based on our exploitation. At some point, we have to say, we're not negotiating our exploitation anymore. We're taking over what belongs to us. And that's socialism.
We discussed this on the podcast, I think, last spring of 2022, precisely because of the conversation around gas prices. I think I had Matt Brunig and another economist on to talk about the possibility and the logistics of seizing oil and gas companies and implicitly other kinds of businesses that were engaging in price gouging and driving up inflation. And I direct people back to that conversation because I did think it was important it can seem very radical to the capitalist American ear. And having experts kind of walk it through and talk about examples of where similar action has been taken in other countries and the ways in which it's benefited the people and what pitfalls might exist and how to address people's concerns is what we're going to have to do to make solutions like that seem more plausible and at least on the table as part of our political discussion. Because it also is the case that there have been moments in history where even the threat of nationalization has forced some of these companies to be less greedy. And we saw that coming out of the New Deal era. So I really appreciate your.
Yeah, I was just going to say something about that with her last point there. Well, first, Claudia Dela Cruz point about seizing control of the top 500 companies, and a lot of it's tied with healthcare. Those companies have become under social ownership. They call them public corporations after World War II in the UK, when Great Britain was on the road toward a real kind of socialism at one point. That would do so much to help the American economy. And I honestly never understood why even a lot of diehard capitalists were opposed to socialized medicine, because it would actually would create non-exploitative economic growth, and it would help us on a competitive global market. I have never understood why American conservatives had to be the negative exception to the rule and all of that. And you know, as far as socialism is concerned, I mean, you know, that's what kind of everything just went to hell in a handbasket in the last 40 years, especially 50 years, with Sherry talking about last week, Sherry Weiss talking about the Paul memo, which it's amazing that Paul memo is was a recipe for everything that sucks about America today. Anyway, your words, Jimmy?
Yeah, no, I agree. I really like what this woman has to say so far. I've never even heard of her. I didn't even know that this girl was running. I'm just recently learning what PSL is. So this is all new news to me. I'm kind of excited to see what this is going to be all about.
Well, I know 20 years ago, I think it was about 20 years ago, PSL split off from the Workers' World Party. And honestly, I don't know what the split was over. I mean, there's usually this alphabet soup of the American left when there's a split taking place. Usually we know why the split took place. Like Committee Correspondence for Democracy and Socialism was founded as a response because the hardline in the Communist Party were supporting the hardliners against Gorbachev in 1991. That was part of the reason why they split off. DSA is a split off from the old Socialist Party of America, split off 3 ways in 1972. So I don't know what the split was about between that created the PSL, but I do respect the PSL. I seen a lot of them. They seem to be pretty bold about their support of Julian Assange and all that. I mean, I'm not an ML, I'm not a Marxist-Leninist, but the more I see them, I do have an appreciation for a lot of their, what they have done activist-wise. So,
right.
Mark Preissner, Abby Martin's husband, is a member of PSL.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
And that's the guy that was in the Iraq War and all of that too. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, definitely something for me to learn. I'm definitely interested in learning about all of this and seeing what this girl has to offer. I really love that a lot of even mainstream people are going for third party candidacy, and then seeing more third party candidates running for president getting some airtime is actually really good, because now it's starting to get to a point where nobody can really say that these candidates are spoiler candidates for Biden anymore, because now it seems like Biden might be the spoiler candidate for the rest of them. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, well, Biden brought it on himself. So
yep. It's great. It's the playing fire with fire, using, playing 3D chess, 4D chess, using them at their own game. So I like it.
Yeah.
Your willingness to go there and have that kind of a conversation. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Just on that, like Nixon, which was a conservative. In a moment of inflation, Nixon said, you know what? We're going to freeze prices. And any corporation that increases their prices is going to get something. They're going to, there is the possibility of controlling and regulating corporations. But for as long as we have this corporate duopoly that serves corporations, we're not going to be able to advance in this country. And so it is more than possible. There is a way of doing something about this inflation. There is something to be done around poverty in this country. There is something to be done around services that people so direly need. But the priorities are not there.
You mentioned the big 3 auto manufacturers and the ongoing strike. I wonder what you make of this push for Biden to visit the picket line. That's largely come in response to news that Donald Trump is going to be visiting Michigan, not going to the picket line, it seems, but going there to speak to some group of auto workers as kind of counter programming to the next Republican debate. Do you think it's a good idea for Joe Biden to go? Do you think it would be misleading for him to go? I mean, what do you make of the optics and the reality, the political reality of someone like Joe Biden's presence on the picket line?
Well, first, hopefully he doesn't fall asleep on the picket line. That's the first thing. And the second piece is, I think it's important to acknowledge things for what they are. Professional politicians, corporate politicians will show up and will promise a lot of things. I mean, he promised a lot of things. And some people may argue, right, that how can he? We're just coming out of a COVID crisis. We're just doing this. But we forget the record of Joe Biden. We forget that his record is brutal. It's criminal. You know, he called for Social Security cuts 3 times. He attacked, pensions. He has supported fracking. He has is part of the warmongering class of people in this country. We can't forget that. So when people are like, oh, but he's done better things, and anybody and everybody could do good things, and that is relative. That does not solve the scale of the problems that people are facing. So he could go, and he will go, and he will show face, probably smile, probably, get off script, cause some sort of, that will happen, but all of that is political theater. And it's political theater that we've seen, again, pop up every 4 years. Because there's a lot of promises and then there's a lot of excuses for the things that cannot be done and they don't say they can't be done because we don't prioritize it. What they usually say is that we lack the resources. And who in their right mind?
Political theater is right, because Joe Biden didn't do a goddamn thing for labor, organized labor, or anything like that. He could have signed the PRO Act, I believe, by executive order. That alone would have done so much to expand unions in this country. Obama campaigned on the what was it called, the Employee Free Choice Act, which was legislation. Even though right to work would have still existed, it would have undermined it, right to work, by making it easier for labor unions to organize. And he campaigned on that. But once he got elected, he never discussed it again. And this is what the Democrats do. It is political theater for him to show up. I'm not one bit impressed that he went to the picket line. Not one bit. The automakers know it's theater. We all know it's theater. Even the auto workers knows that's theater. But of course, Nikki Haley thinks, oh my, he's just encouraging unions. And Donald Trump going to Michigan and places like that, going to a non-union operations, that was symbolic right there. It's a way to let the donors know that he's not going to capitulate to a union. So I'm not particularly impressed by Donald Trump's theater either. Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
Yep. I mean, we used to call Joe Biden Crime Bill Joe. He literally wrote the crime bill. Did everybody else forget about Anita Hill too? Like, we're all going to forget about her as well. Like, people just forget. They completely forget. It was like when, what was it? Kamala was like, we need to believe all women or something like that with the Tara Reid thing. And then once she had her shot as vice president VP, she didn't believe her anymore. That's all it is. It's like virtue signaling, trying to climb up the ladder in any way you can. So it's just how it all is.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is, there are people out there that we're supposed to be grateful for the political theater. Why should we be? Also, people need to remember that Iraq War. He voted for the Iraq War. He wrote a lot of the language for the USA Patriot Act. Of course, I would say that every president has kind of marched us one step further toward totalitarianism. This started under Reagan. Reagan did it, and then Bush did it. Clinton did it. Bush 2 did it. Obama, Trump, and now Biden. So the latest reiteration of that. So anyway, I guess we can probably continue this for a few more minutes, and then I guess get to the next subject at hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mind can believe that there's a lack of resources in the wealthiest country in the world. Our problem is not lack.
Yeah.
We are abundant. We've stolen enough resources also across the globe to have enough. And so how are you going to say that there isn't enough money to have universal health care? How are you not going to say, how is there not money for infrastructure? How is it that we're not using the technology and the ways in which technology has advances for the benefit of working class people? That is ludicrous. So that they go, yes, they'll go, and they'll do what they do. which is part again of the political theater, and trying to bribe people, working class people, into voting for them, and have our people put their hopes and dreams and aspirations into the same cycle that has been happening historically. And so
I read, I believe in the Washington Post, a former Michigan Governor, James Blanchard, in the context of this conversation about should Biden go or shouldn't he go, he said something that was sort of revealing. He said, quote, "I'm not sure the president should be marching a picket line. You start one and you have to do the others." So, I mean, it seems to be an acknowledgement that there is tension being put, there's pressure being put on the Democratic Party right now, because some Republicans, at least Donald Trump, sees this as an opportunity for him to make a bid for working class voters that have been historically ignored by the Republican Party. It's a silly bid. It's a weak bid. I don't know how much any of the auto workers are likely to fall for it, but they're making a bid, which puts pressure on Biden to show up the same way that there was pressure on him to show up in East Palestine, pressure on him to show up in Maui. But if you do this thing performatively only because you're being pressured by Republicans, does that mean you have to show up to all of them? Meaning, does it mean you have to actually be a pro-union candidate and not just one every 4 years? Isn't that kind of a tell?
I mean, it's very telling. It's very, very telling. He is one, union busting.
Right.
Again, patterns in history. We just need to look at the patterns of the Democratic Party and the different levels of attack that the working class, including labor unions, have faced within the Democratic regime and rule in this country.
Yeah.
They have historically done that. And they've actually occupied more seats than the Republicans throughout history, which is another reality.
Yeah.
And so what have they done for us if it's not bring us into this point? And again, I don't think the discussion or the conversation should be around blue or red or Democrat or Republican, because ultimately they are the same, and they pray and they are accountable to the same God, which is profit. And we have to be clear about that. And so if we're clear about that, then the only option is to build a third option. The only option is to build instruments of working class people, is to be able to work in coalition, is to be able to have a strategy to build and reorganize society in a way that works for us and stops working for them. But in order to do that, we need to seize what's ours. We need to take what's ours. We can't talk, a lot of folks in many different movements, we will continue to struggle. We will continue to fight for the very things that have been the reforms that we've earned, that we've struggled for. But that cannot be the end of our fight. That cannot, reforming capitalism is not and cannot and should never be the end of our fight. Our fight is to build a new society, to reorganize a socialist society in this country that actually puts people at the forefront. It is inconceivable the amount of money, the trillions of dollars over the last 20 years, $21 trillion towards war. And that's not only war that happens out there. That war has repercussions in our communities. The lack of healthcare in our communities is directly connected to that. Foreclosures is connected to that. And so we can't continue in the same pattern and expect different results. We have to stand up and build something that is ours.
You mentioned
well, okay, your thoughts?
I agree with her. She's very convincing. Absolutely. A lot of us progressive activists, though, we're really, good with the talk and stuff like that. So yeah, I give her props. She's really out there saying the things that needs to be said. There's a couple things in there where I don't really think that she kind of understands economics a slight bit. But other than that, she did, really good talking points to help get the people definitely riled up to realize that it's not just the Republicans, but Democrats are just as bad as well.
Yeah, well, I'm listening to what she says, and when it comes to reforming capitalism, I was that guy 20 years ago that said, America, we just need to expand some unions and have some single-payer health care. And we basically would be Germany or Holland or Sweden. And I was like, okay, that's your socialism. I used to be that guy. And I'm not going to say that's a terrible system, but I definitely think that the way that corporations have gotten so abusive. I mean, I've gotten a little more resentful toward capitalism, that I'm like, no, I want more. I want more than just that. I do want to see this exploitation like massively removed from our society. And I'm so glad she brought up the $21 trillion, because we're about 30 some trillion dollars in debt. And, and that's going to bring, if anything's going to, that could bring the country down. But then again, I got a little bit knowledge about MMTs, but it's prioritizing what we spend, and there's no reason that we need to be spending $21 trillion on war when it could have been spent on
infrastructure, healthcare,
yeah,
homelessness, anything, literally anything to help the people, us people here. I agree. Gamer, what's up, Gamer? He says in the comments that Claudia's organization is backed by Goldman Sachs, so that is definitely a red flag.
PSL's backed by Goldman Sachs?
No, Claudia's organization. So this girl right here, her campaign is being backed by Goldman Sachs. He said that Sabby interviewed her on Thursday.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that interview.
Definitely we'll have to watch and hear and see about that, because that's definitely a huge red flag for sure.
Yeah, well, I look at it. I was sort of looking at her as like my option if somehow Peter Dow convinced Cornel West to drop out, and that's why I get a little hot-headed over Peter Dow. Because I kind of, it's just my opinion, but I think that Peter Dow's there to whisper to Cornel West to drop out to support Biden. That's my conspiracy theory, and I could be wrong, but that's kind of how I'm viewing it.
All right. Yeah. We'll just have to see how it goes. I mean, it's still early, so we still got a year to go at least. So we still got some time. Definitely have some time. And regular people don't even start paying attention until next summer anyway. So
that's true. And there will be other third-party candidates too. I'm going to try to get her on the Willie Bragg show, and I think I'm going to try to get some other third-party candidates. It just occurred to me that I like to reach out to some of them and see if they're willing to come on my show to talk to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you heard Cenk Uygur, I think, said I don't know if it's a rumor. I think I saw it on Twitter. Is then something about he's running for president too. So,
yeah, he's gonna run. I saw that.
The guy couldn't even win Victorville and like the valley out here where I live in California, where he was running for, I think it was, what was it, congressman or something like that?
Yeah, Congress. Yeah. I think District 50 or something like that.
Yeah, so it's a really like rich, like it's like the northern tip of Los Angeles County. It's a lot of the Los Angeles mountains. There's a lot of like ranch houses, but in like certain areas like Victorville and stuff like that out there, that it's very, very snobby, very rich, hoity-toity. A lot of like kids who live in like condo 3-story condos, that are all like right next to each other, but they think that they're like all rich and shit. It's just like an upper middle class area. And if he can't even win that, which I mean, and most of like that area is Six Flags Magic Mountain. So I mean, if he can't win that, I'm sorry, but I don't think president is really going to go for you, because he didn't even listen to us during that time. Like, I knew about 4 people that worked on his campaign, and I told him, look, you're going to want to go to those richy areas. You're going to want to go to all those ranchers and all that stuff. But you've got Palmdale, California out at your northern tip. And that is where the most, it's hood, it's ghetto. It's a lot of low income, a lot of trailer parks, a lot of gang violence. I mean, Afro Man, the guys that sing Because I Got High, literally made a song called Palmdale, Come Back to Me, I Miss You and I Love You. Like, it's because that's where they're from. Like, that place is not the best of the best. And he didn't barely spend any time out there with those people. And that's where he was going to get a lot of his votes, because the majority where he went to, they're ranchers. They're like separated on acres and acres and acres of lands in the middle of the national forest. He's dumb. He's not going to win. He's not even going to have a chance in hell if he can't even get congressman out here at Six Flags Magic Mountain Valley. No, not going to happen.
Yeah. What was it? 5% is what he got.
Yeah.
It was something abysmally low, and he had to go and ask Bernie Sanders to rescind his endorsement. And I think, and if I'm not mistaken, I think they drew his pass against him again, like they did with the Justice Democrats, of some of the goofy shit he said in college. I don't know if that's true, but I think that's what I heard, that they dug into his past to try to smear him.
Well, yeah, I mean, because he was like talking about how it's not fair that women don't like him and he should have like any kind of girl that he wants to. That typical conservative, redneck, libertarian, not like, lower than a 6 kind of guys. Like a lot of conservative dudes out here in California think like that. A lot of them do. It's very self-entitled, privileged. I think I deserve it no matter what it is because it's a female. And it's just how a lot of, I mean, I'm not saying that it's okay that they think like that, but Shank is a product of Southern California, where a lot of the men think like that, where, you think Southern California is very liberal, but it's only liberal like LA and Hollywood. Everywhere else is super, super, super conservative. And that's how they think. I mean, that's how a lot of the men out here think.
I'm going to say a bad joke right now about Shank, about him not being able to get laid in college and all of that. Think of the TV show Mr. Ed. Wilbur.
Right.
Yeah, the rumor. Yeah, I mean, what Shank said about horses in the past.
Yeah. Gamer. He was born in Turkey. Yes. He's just spent a lot of time out here. It's just when they did that on his past and stuff, it just reminded me of a lot of guys that I definitely encountered working in bars out here in Southern California for 10 years. So yeah, he definitely has that Southern California boy attitude. Kind of like Jackson Hinkle. Jackson Hinkle's like the rich version of those boys. Jackson Hinkle's from Orange County, which is Southern California. Very conservative, but rich area, upper middle class, but still conservative Orange County. So yeah, if you want to know how men think, just think of Jackson Hinkle, but a lot poorer and more racist.
And Jackson Hinkle's, he's kind of vain at times, I've noticed.
They all are out here.
I've seen him like stroke his hair on the show. Back then when he was more lefty sounding, once in a blue moon, I will just peek and see what he has to say. But anyway, yeah. Let's see. I guess we'll go with the next story.
Okay. Is it me?
Yeah.
All right. So I am so excited. All I've been singing since, what was it, yesterday, is Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead, which is making me very, very happy. Oh no, did I grab the wrong one? Oh no, okay. So Dianne Feinstein died this week.
Oh yeah.
So this has been some really, really interesting stuff because it's more than just the obvious, which Dianne Feinstein is 90 years old. She needs to retire. A lot of people definitely need to retire. A really funny joke I actually heard this week that the average age of the Senate is going to drop drastically just because she's not in it anymore.
Oh my God.
That's what I thought too. I was like, that's great. That was a good joke.
Jerry from Chicago Corner put up a meme of a coffin of a hearse and them pulling the hearse, a coffin out of the hearse. Said, "This is Dianne Feinstein coming to the Senate this morning for her Senate vote."
Right. Yeah. Yes. And another really good joke too, from what I heard, her very last vote that she made before she passed was to ban hoodies. So I think if everybody wore a hoodie this weekend in memory of her, because she hates them so much, I think that would really, really help us out a lot. I'm wearing my hoodie today in remembrance of her. I got my hoodie on. She hates hoodies, so we gotta all wear hoodies.
Why she wants to ban hoodies?
It's because of that one Democrat dude that just got into office, and he has to wear like he goes in like hoodies and sweatpants and stuff because he can't wear suits. So the big thing in Congress right now, what they're all voting and fighting over, is dress code. So
ban hoodies from the Senate chamber.
Yes. So that was the last thing that Dianne Feinstein voted on before she died. Just so you guys know,
very fitting.
Hilarious. Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. John Fetterman, he sounds good on paper, but he's just another Democrat. But my God, he had a stroke. I was like, give him a little bit of empathy,
Right. And then he went in for depression too. Like, he might be a typical Democrat like all the rest of him, but man, like hit my heart with that. You went in for depression. Oh, that like really familiarizes himself with a lot of us regular people. So,
and I'm not being partisan. I mean, if Mitch McConnell came in a if Mitch McConnell came in with basketball shorts and a hoodie, I mean, I still would not call him out on it.
No, not at all. I mean, I don't even know why most of these Republicans are complaining anyway. That gives a lot of the girl Republicans reason to wear their booby dresses and their mini skirts and their high heels, and it gives all the Republican men a reason to look at their asses, which they do anyway. I don't know why they're complaining about this dress code. Like, I'm pretty sure secretly behind closed doors in smoke-filled rooms, they're all like excited about being able to see those girls, like whatever Lauren Boebert and shit with their boobies hanging out in the Senate office or the Congress office. This is all just a hubbub shit show. Anyway, so that was what Dianne Feinstein's last vote was. I do want to show what this was pretty much like my biggest memory. I posted this on Facebook as well. This is my biggest memory of Dianne Feinstein. And to me, what she's always going to be remembered for is this instance right here.
Who's standing at asking for the new Green Deal, and we're trying to present this letter that we've made to Senator Feinstein. We are trying to ask you to vote yes on the Green New Deal.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We have our own Green New Deal piece of legislation.
Well, we're trying to promote the Green New Deal.
Well, there are reasons why I can't, because there's no way to pay for it.
Yes, there is. We have tons of money going to military. A lot of us is going to military.
But we have come to a point where our Earth is dying, literally, and it is going to be a pricey and ambitious plan that is needed to deal with the magnitude of that issue. And so we're here asking you to vote yes on the resolution for the Green New Deal, because that is the only
that resolution will not pass the Senate, and you can take that back to whoever sent you here.
Some scientists have said that we have 12 years to turn this around.
Well, it's not going to get turned around in 10 years. What we can do,
Senator, if this doesn't get turned around in 10 years, you're looking at the faces of the people who are going to be living with these consequences.
The government is supposed to be for the people and by the people and all for the people.
You know what's interesting about this group is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. You come in here and you say it has to be my way or the highway. I don't respond to that. I've gotten elected. I just ran. I was elected by almost 1 million vote plurality. And I know what I'm doing. So, maybe people should listen a little bit.
I hear what you're saying, but we're the people who voted you. You're supposed to listen to us. That's your job. I'm 16. I can't
You didn't vote for me.
Well, I'm 24.
It doesn't matter. We're the ones who's going to be impacted.
Something.
It doesn't matter. We're going to be the ones who's all impacted.
I understand that. I have 7 grandchildren. I understand it very well.
Senator, the cost of not taking this action is far higher than the cost of what the Green New Deal will be. And there is enormous popularity for this bill around the whole country. And we're asking you to be brave and do this for us and for your grandchildren.
Here's what I do propose. And here is the resolution that I think has a chance to pass. So we'll give each of you a copy. You can take a look at it. And I'm trying to do the best I can, which was to write a responsible resolution.
Any plan that doesn't take bold, transformative action is not going to be what we need.
Well, you know better than I do. So I think one day you should run for the Senate.
Great.
And then you do it your way.
But by that time,
in the meantime,
there's going to be a big problem.
I just won a big election. We will give you a resolution that's
Man, it so grosses me out. Like that's pretty much what I'm always going to remember her by, is the fact that kids ask her to do this Green New Deal, and the first thing she does is, how you going to pay for it? That's something that the Democrats have been using against us for so fucking long. If people just learn how economics, or just learn MMT economics, how our monetary policy works, people would understand that when they say how you going to pay for it, they only do it when it comes to helping out us, not when it comes to helping out the wars and stuff that they want to make profit off of. And then her second one was, oh, well, it's not going to pass anyway. We saw the same thing happen a couple of years ago with Force the Vote. This is something that obviously they've been using over and over again. If they don't think that it's going to win, then why even bring it up to the thing? We want to see who's going to vote for it and who's not. And then the third thing she does is, well, I got the votes. I won this many votes. I know what I'm doing. Don't tell me what I'm doing. But obviously you're not doing anything right if you think that we can't get climate change done, or at least started to get fixed in 10 years or so. Because how long ago was that video? And now we're still here to this day, and look at what's happening. We had our very first hurricane in California. We were completely snowed out for almost a week. New York just flooded yesterday. We've been getting crazy hurricanes and storms and floodings and all kinds of things where people are just dying, and nobody's getting any help. Like, this is her legacy. And then the news goes on and talks about how she's done all these wonderful things, but it's us that really remembers it. It's us that remembers what she's done to us. And it sucks. It's going to be our grandchildren who are going to be reading the history books, never even understanding or knowing the actual shit that we went through with her. All we're going to read is what of a great person she was as a senator in history books. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I was never too impressed with her, knowing about her years ago, and the fact that she was so condescending, so elitist and condescending. I remember that they actually made a Saturday Night Live sketch about that a couple of years ago, which was really funny to watch. But
yeah, I remember in high school, in my senior class high school in 2003, we had to, for our government economics class, we had to write 3 letters to 3 politicians on issues that was really, really important to us. And still to this day, I remember writing Dianne Feinstein and asking her and begging her at 17 years old to stop offshore drilling and fracking in our oceans, because it's going to ruin the seabeds and everything that lives under there. And she's still in office. I mean, she just died and she's still senator. And this was something that I was asking for back in 2003. This was 20 years ago, and she hasn't done a single damn thing. So it grosses me out. Now that she's dead and we all got our little complaints and stuff over, now is where a lot of the confusing stuff comes in. This is where we really need to start paying attention on who's going to get that spot. How are they going to do it? Are we going to be able to vote for it? Or is Gavin Newsom going to put the person in for us? This morning, about 2 hours ago, your buddy, Bo of the Fifth Column, did a little snippet, about a 4.5-minute video about Feinstein's vacancy and how Gavin Newsom, this might be a political test, because, Gavin Newsom's wanting to maybe become president one day. He's definitely starting to get on the national platform. So this is kind of going to be his test on how he's going to be able to handle this kind of thing. And when I watched this today, right before the show started, I really, really, really appreciated him at least taking a few minutes out of his time to explain this, because nobody else is explaining the kind of situation that California is in right now, of who could be taking that spot, because that spot could either go to Barbara Lee or Adam Schiff. Now, obviously they're both Democrats and they're both, whatever, but we might have a little bit of a chance with Barbara Lee, but then Schiff is owned by Nancy Pelosi, and Nancy Pelosi's nephew is Gavin Newsom. So there's just this whole corrupt web of stuff. And I think that your buddy Bo did a really, really good job on explaining the kind of situation that I think California is in right now.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say that between Barbara Lee and Adam Schiff, and again, I have my complaints about both of them, but would reluctantly have to say that Barbara Lee would be a better choice. Obviously, Adam Schiff is not even an option from where I stand.
Right. And that's the thing, though, too, is that Adam Schiff has really held his spot down here in Southern California. So if they do move him, they're moving him up to San Francisco away from his spot, which means that this spot down here, out by the beach, is going to be open for for somebody to take, and we don't know who's going to be that. So it's really confusing, and we're definitely going to have to keep our eye open. But I do want to show this video because Gavin's got a lot on his shoulder right now with this thing too. So.
Let's bow again. So today we are going to talk about Senator Feinstein's vacancy and the situation that Governor Newsom now finds himself in. So if you have missed the news, Senator Feinstein is no longer with us. This means that Governor Newsom of California has to make an appointment. There are things that Newsom has said in the past about who he would or wouldn't appoint. He has said that he would appoint a black woman. He has said that he wouldn't appoint somebody currently running for the position. These are the two statements. These statements were made a while ago, and the issue that he's going to run into is that there are a lot of very well-known and pretty influential candidates that are now currently in the field to run for that position. And by his statement, well, he can't appoint them because he said that in the past. The other issue that he's going to run into is that when he said, I would appoint a black woman, I would be willing to bet that if you went to political insiders, people who really understood California politics, and said, hey, give me a black woman to fill a vacant Senate seat from California, 90% of them, the first name they would say would be Barbara Lee. She's running. There are a lot of very popular, very influential people within the Democratic Party that have already said they're going to go after that seat. If he appoints one of them, he risks alienating others. If he avoids it, he puts somebody into the incumbent position for the next election. Somebody that influential, powerful people within the Democratic Party are going to have to run against. He has put himself in a very difficult political position. And because of his apparent desire to launch to the national scene, it certainly seems like he's trying to build a resume to run for president. There's probably going to be a whole lot of thought put into how he handles this. There are, let's see, Porter, Schiff, the list goes on and on of people who are looking at this seat. And he can't risk alienating any of them. I have no idea what he is going to do, but this is probably his first real political test on the national scene. He has made a lot of political moves in California that have made the people of California pretty happy. His campaigning for a national position, it's gone pretty well. This is where the rubber meets the road, though. This is the first political test because he has to find a way to make everybody happy. I have no idea how he is going to do it, but watching it should be pretty enlightening because he does seem like somebody that's going to be destined for national prominence. And we're going to get a glimpse of how he might handle politically sensitive situations in the future. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.
Yep, I agree. I think this is either going to show whether or not he's going to give in to his family and his friends and the nepotism and all that shit and do what we expect him to do, or if he's actually going to be, you know, a decent person. And because see, the thing is what's really hard about this whole situation too, about putting somebody in Dianne Feinstein's spot, is the fact that if whoever he puts into that spot, they're going to be the incumbent during this next election season, which is literally only a year away. So it's hard. You can't really put somebody who's already running for that spot in competition with other people into that spot when they're going to be running still this whole entire year until next year when the elections come.
It's a difficult situation. I can see where it's difficult. So you can't put somebody who's running and this is a conundrum for him. I'm not even the biggest fan of Governor Gavin Newsom. I mean, but he's in a conundrum, and whatever decision he makes, it's going, you know, there's going to be repercussions from part of his base because of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree, Jordan. Dick, Adam shit.
Ideologically, as I said, I give Barbara Lee props because she was brave enough, the only person after 9/11 to vote against going into Afghanistan. And I mean, she's been, I don't know where she's at on this Ukraine funding, but as I said, 20 years ago, she did stand out in that regard. Katie Porter seems to have some Bernie style politics.
Katie Porter would be another good one. Yeah.
Yeah. There's appeal. Sometimes he's good. Sometimes he flubs, but he runs hot and cold, but I mean, certainly Ro Khanna would be a better choice than, let's say, Adam Schiff.
Right. Yeah. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see about it because it depends on how they all are. I mean, Adam Schiff, I know he's very comfortable in his spot where he's at right now in the district that he's in. I worry about where Barbara Lee's mentality is at now because she is a politician in Oakland, and Oakland is definitely known for their racist cops. If you ever seen, I think there was Vice did a documentary or somebody did a documentary about Oakland's police officers, how they bend the star points on their badges. I don't know if you've ever heard of badge bending.
No, I haven't.
So in Oakland, I guess back in the day, or like in a way, in different ways and in different times and stuff, police officers, if you kill someone in the line of duty, let's say like a gang member or somebody that's a criminal and stuff, you would bend your badge a little bit. And so that way, if you go into, let's say, your police station and you're new there, but you have like one of them bent and you see another person, you guys know that you're like, you know, your friends, it's like a secret club. The same thing happens in downtown Los Angeles. The police officers who are in like this, like it's kind of like a racist skinhead gang. They get these tattoos on themselves. I think it's like a skull or something, a skull with like crossbones or something like that. So it's like a secret club kind of thing, but it's very corrupt. And that's Barbara Lee's district is Oakland, where they're doing that. It's very, 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 very prominent that the police officers are known to be extremely corrupt. They'll shoot just anybody. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of unjust police killings going on there all the time. And they also delve into badge bending, which is disgusting and gross to me because that just shows that they're in the secret club, you know, that they kill people and that's their cool little club. We're in the kill innocent, you know, people club. So, and that's her district. So I worry a lot about Barbara Lee as well.
That's a good reason to worry and all of that. And whoever he appoints this is going to have some repercussions. Also, if Joe Biden is not going to run for re-election, because there's always that chance of that happening, and there's a possibility he may be appointed to be the Democratic nominee in the year 2024.
Yep.
And if that happens, they're gonna have to drop Kamala Harris, since she lives in California too. So you can't have two Californians running together. So they're in a Democratic Party's in a situation.
Yep, they got themselves stuck between a rock and a hard place.
They're
Right
going
where
to
they
lose.
deserve to be.
They're going to lose.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Of course.
I mean, and of course, I mean, I'm saying this now, and they you know, anything can happen between now and then. But for where it stands right now, I mean, they're toast.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just losing, taking L's all over the place. They sure are.
And you know, the only reason why the Republicans have the slimmest majority in the House, they weren't going to have a red wave last year. But what happened when they overturned the Supreme Court decision, Roe versus Wade? A lot of Americans are like, that's a little bit too far. So, you know, that's what's going on right there. The country's right leaning. But you know, they don't want their abortion rights taken away from them. That's a line in the sand I think that people are willing to draw right there.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of them talking about it on the right anymore, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so I guess we should go with the next story.
No, it's 4. You got to get out of here. It is 4. It is 4. You have to get out of here.
No, I don't work tonight. Remember?
Oh, you don't work tonight. Oh, that's okay. I can save the next my last one for next week. It's not even time sensitive or anything like that. So
we'll do that. You know, as I said, I might not do a video tonight. This would probably be like my Saturday night video too, combined.
Okay,
it'll work out for the and I'm a little hungry right now, so I can go and grab myself a bite to eat and all that too. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, if you don't work tonight, maybe we can talk Warren into letting you come and hang out with us tonight.
I might take y'all up on that.
Okay, cool. So what else do you got going on this week for the audience?
Let's see. Well, I do have a new schedule for the Saturday night stream, but I'm not going to do it tonight. And it's at 8:00 because there's a lot of competition. And I'm like, everybody needs, you know, if I just slip mine a little bit earlier, everybody can watch. Yeah, everybody can watch Beauty and the Boomer. They can watch The Matrix. They can watch Misty Winston's program, Bitch, and then everybody can get all ready for the secret show at midnight. So I'm just
so
doing
funny.
that out of consideration for everybody.
Does anyone do a show at midnight, or is it just the secret show?
I think it's just a secret show. And if there are, they should stop doing their show at midnight and support the secret show.
That's right. Uncontested. Nobody wants to do midnight shows.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm on it.
Exactly.
Everybody's like, let's fight for 7, let's fight for 8, and I'm over here at 9 p.m. like, I'm ready to go.
And of course, throughout the week, I will, you know, just periodically surprise everybody with a stream, you know, maybe one day in the middle of the week. And usually I interview somebody each week, but I've been a little bit on the dry side lately as far as that's concerned. But, you know, then again, I've been tired. I haven't been aggressively trying to talk to people into doing the show as well. So there's that as well.
Yep. All right. Well, for this week, I'm thinking, because last week I was supposed to do a show with Tommy Nation Politics, and he's been really sick. He just recently got a hold of me this week and said that he's ready to go again. So maybe, hopefully, cross your fingers, this week we'll do Tommy Nation Politics. I'm really enjoying, just started watching his show, and I'm like super in love with this dude. He's super flamboyant. I'm like in love with the way that he is. His personality is just super fun. So hopefully I'll be able to do that this week. We got Warren in my show, secret show tonight. Right, Jordan? They wouldn't dare compete with a secret show.
Exactly.
That's right. Other than that, what else do I have? Hey, Warren, since you're in the comment section really quick, I know that there's supposed to be the Colorado Buffs versus another college team today. That's pretty much what I'm going to be doing. If it hasn't ended already, I hope it hasn't. So 2 football teams are going to be playing today, college teams. One of the kids in one of the teams is Deion Sanders' son. Deion Sanders is a player for the Dallas Cowboys. And one of the kids on the other team is Jerry Rice's son, who is a player from the San Francisco 49ers. Those 2 are going at it today, or have already gone at it today in a football game. Literally San Francisco 49ers versus Dallas Cowboys game back in 1994 when I was a child is pretty much what got me into loving Dallas Cowboys and them being my team. So seeing the children of the 2 teams that rivaled against each other when I was a kid, seeing those guys as kids rival each other in a college team game today, I'm like super, super excited. They should turn this into a movie. This is really exciting for me. So I cannot wait to see it.
And we should majorly encourage everybody, if they haven't subscribed to Bragglands, to subscribe to Bragglands.
Subscribe, hit the like button, hit the follow button, please. Share this out to your friends if you can. All that fun stuff. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we need to build this channel. So, and we're here for everybody, but we got to everybody in the audience. You got to go and spread the word out about us too, if you don't mind.
Yes, please spread the word. We love you guys, and we're like so excited to like get this thing going and being able to talk about the things that are important to us. And I love hearing your stories, and then it's so fun to have you like, it's just the bouncing back and forth. This has been so much fun. I'm really, really enjoying it, and I love everybody that comes in and offers the support too. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Every Fridays is fun, even though I do have to go to work after the show, but it's worth it.
Yes. Okay, I just got the message. USC 48, Colorado 41, which means that I think my team lost. Niners and Cowboys are playing next Sunday night. That's what Gamer says. All right, you guys, no more. I can't talk about football anymore. I'll talk about football offline. Okay.
and everybody, as I says, go ahead and support us by hitting that subscribe button if you haven't done that yet, and we'll see y'all all next week.
Yes, everybody take care. I can't wait to see you all next time. Love you all. Peace out. Stay high. Bye.